Today we are discussing the ancient foundation of Machu Picchu, Peru, the lost city of the Incas. This is the digital media project for CE 5700 taught by Lindsay Ivy Burden at the University of Virginia, a project by Garrett Craig, Jocelyn Muri, and Ning Wang.
High in the Peruvian Andes, surrounded by steep cliffs and dense forests, lies one of the seven wonders of the world, Machu Picchu. Construction began on this fortress in the 15th century under the Incan ruler Pachacuti. This stronghold was able to inhabit nearly 1,000 people and was used as a personal state and religious retreat for the Incan emperor and other elites.
It is theorized that this location was chosen for Machu Picchu due to its sightlines to other mountain peaks which were considered ancestral deities throughout the Andes, also known as spirits of the mountains. The terraces throughout were used to grow and protect crops which were strategically built on top of the tectonic faults in the area that naturally made rock breaks along the plains and fissures and acted as channels for meltwater and rainwater.
Machu Picchu lay forgotten after being mysteriously abandoned by the Incan people only a century after completion, until it was rediscovered in 1911 by Hiram Bingham. But the question remains, how did a group without a written language, without access to iron, steel, or even the wheel, create a structure capable of surviving over 500 years in an area averaging over 76 inches of rain per year? The answer lies in their ingenuity of creating terraces supported by stone retaining walls and their advanced drainage system. The main type of retaining wall found at Machu Picchu are known as gravity walls. Gravity walls utilize their own weight to hold back the soil placed behind them. The retaining walls constructed here were built with wider bases and foundations, utilizing large stones to increase stability. The natural gaps from the stones used for these walls created weep holes, allowing water to pass through to prevent failures due to excessive hydrostatic loading. Retaining walls were also backfilled with soils that increased in coarseness with depth to prevent washouts.
The soils in Machu Picchu are basically sand, which is about 66% of the soils, while clay and silt 34%. From engineering perspective, gravel and sand belong to coarse-grained soils. Silt and clay belong to fine-grained soils. The exact boundary is the individual particle size, which is about 75 micrometer. In addition, coarse-grained soils usually have good bearing capacity, they drain freely, and they can be more easily compacted. On the contrary, fine-grained soils usually have very poor bearing capacity when they are wet. They can react with water very easily and are usually impermeable, and it's very hard for us to compact fine-grained soils.
The structures of Machu Picchu utilized granite bedrock from the surrounding mountain ridge and stones that were fit together so tightly that you could not even fit a piece of paper between them. This is known as the Adequal ashlar method. In 2009, a 9-foot excavation was done of the foundation where they found 3 feet of rich topsoil underlain by a layer of gravelly-sized sandy soil, and then finally an underground subsurface drainage system made of waste rock from the stones used to build the structures on top. Without good drainage, Machu Picchu would not exist today, as they get 76 inches of water per year during a 7-month wet period.
The foundation types differ from place to place. For example, in the Temple of the Sun area, people used huge in-situ rocks for their foundation base. As to the Plaza area, the foundation is featured by stone chips, which belong to coarse-grained soils, so it has good bearing capacity and can drain water freely. Even for such a famous place, foundation failure can happen. For example, in Principal Temple area, the east wall sank about 0.3 meter during its construction phase. The reason is that it has a poor drainage system. Thus, the water builds up and greatly decreases the bearing capacity of the soils and causes non-uniform settlement. So, you should be very careful with water table when you design a foundation.
Machu Picchu is in imminent danger of being destroyed by landslides. A major landslide event might split the ruins into 2 separate areas on the east and the west, due to gentle sloping on either side. Here you can see a topographic map of Machu Picchu where elevation lowers on both the east and the west side of the Machu Picchu ruins. This west side slope is found to be moving at 1 centimeter per month and is estimated to be about 100 meters deep. Unfortunately, it is said that only landslide areas can really supply water and soil for farming.